Hello and welcome to the Nova Show. I'm your host, Chris Nova. Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing today? Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you, everyone. Muhammad is here. Java, best in the world, okay? Theo, good morning. How are you doing, Theo? It's good to see you. Hellhound Guy says, hey Chris, how are you? I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. Rhythm CL gave us a really cute panda bear. Waving good morning, good morning. Hello. Hellhound wants to know, do you guys have any distro recommendations? I feel like I waste a bunch of time customizing my install of actually being productive and it's starting to bother me. I'm probably the worst person to ask this question to because I do the same thing, right? Like I spend way too much time managing my Arch Linux install, but it also works for me and I'm also productive, but it's just because I've invested into it. So it's like one of those like weird things where it's like, I have the tools I like. I'm used to them. I've been working with them for a long time. I know how they work. I'm good with them. I'm very effective with them. But yeah, it's definitely like a Nova specific thing. And I have to spend a lot of time maintaining my toolkit. So that's like a thing that I do. Orzafan says, hype, doing fine, thank you. How are you, Nova? I'm okay. I don't know, I'm all right. I got a lot going on at work. X68 says, you're also Chris Nova. Not everyone is Chris Nova. I am reminded this day after day after day. And I don't really know what you mean by that, to be completely honest. Like, does that mean that I'm good or fast, or I'm not really super certain, but I am Chris Nova, and there is definitely only one of me. Hellhound Guy says, Gwix is what I'll be investing in for the long term. I've heard good things about Gwix. I haven't, or Gwix, or however you pronounced it. I haven't used it myself. What do I mean about it? I'm good at this tech thing, but I am no Chris Nova. I mean, I'm also not that good either. Like, and I don't know, it's difficult for me to talk about this, to be completely honest. It's difficult to talk about because, like, on one hand, I'm trying to be very real with myself, and it can be perceived as me being like down on myself or like, you know, trying to beat myself up or something like that. On the other hand, you know, there's always a bigger fish, right? There's always somebody who's bigger, badder, smarter, more amazing, had a better childhood, grew up with richer parents, you know, was born into a better body, etc., etc., etc. And so I think that, you know, being realistic about that is also important. I also think that, like, I do stand out, right? There are things that I can do that other people don't seem to have the same ability to do as quickly or as effectively, and so I try to be humble and honest about that. I also want to, like, be real that, like, everybody has to start somewhere. So I don't know, it's difficult for me to talk about that, right? Like, it's just it's a hard topic. But yeah, good call out. Hellhound Guy says, also congrats on the first blog post for Nivenly. Actually thinking of hopping to Hackaderm due to all the great things you are doing with it. Thank you. I think, you know, one of the messages I would want to send about Hackaderm is, like, we do what we do and we want everybody to be happy. And if people think that they can be happy on our server, great. And if you're going to be happy somewhere else, also great. There's plenty of great servers out there. So I think that, like, it's interesting to break down the, like, product marketing relationship that you usually see with tech services, right? I feel like there's definitely the sentiment of, like, come use our service. And then if you decide not to use it, it's like, why are you leaving? Our service is the best service. And it's just a little bit, like, uncomfortable. I'm trying to, like, we don't have anything to like, we don't have any money to make if you join or if you leave. So, like, we just want you to be happy. But, like, it would be cool to see you, whoever you are. Be happy to make a new friend. So that's always fun. But yeah, to borrow from a good boss who understood me, the best of y'all, i.e. techies, is that you have inferiority complexes that make you try harder than others. Yeah. Zunderscore says, when you talk about someone who is smarter and better at things, you're extremely high up on the list of those people for me. Baseplant says, I'm subbed and I'm still getting ads. I don't know what to say about that. That's like a Twitch something. I can go try to find out. I would probably suck at finding out why that's happening, to be honest. I'm happy to try to do it if you want some help with it, though. Maybe somebody in the audience has something to say. Zunderscore says, when you talk about someone who is smarter than you and better at you, you're extremely high up on the list of those people are for me. Awesome. Thank you, Zunderscore. And you, Zunderscore, and you. Baseplant says, Chris Nova, how do you want us to respond to it? Because when that happens, I try to say nice things, but I don't know if that's the kind of feedback you want. I mean, here's the thing is like, I struggle with this with my wife quite a bit. I don't know if this is my trauma or if it's my neurosis or if it's just the fact that I think my way through problems instead of feeling my way through problems. I don't know what it is about me. I don't. I've had different therapists and different professionals tell me different things. I've had different friends tell me different things. I've thought different things. I've really like gone the full gauntlet of like, you know, second, third, fourth, fifth opinions here. And I think that like everybody has a small amount of truth to their thesis on why I am the way I am. I would say that one of the common things I catch myself saying is usually the things that other people crave in similar situations are not the things I crave. So like I'll give you an example of this. Like the other day I was stressed out with time management, right? So like calendars are difficult for me because it involves like people and inconsistent interfaces, right? Like if you've ever tried to schedule a meeting with someone, it's literally the fucking worst part of my day. It is hands down the worst, most obnoxious thing I do any day of the week. And it's because Jack wants to send me an email where he says, call you at 8, and I have to interpret that email as Jack expects me to be on the meeting at 8 a.m. his time. And then Janet slacks me, different fucking tool, right? And says, what do you think about a meeting next week? And I say, meeting sounds great. And Janet gets upset with me because I didn't proactively schedule a meeting for us, right? And so there's a stood-on. Right? You get a text box. There's only so much you can do with a text box, right? And it comes with a timestamp, and you can't argue with the timestamp, right? Like, we could use computers to simplify that conversation, and we don't, and it drives me nuts. And so, like, I was very frustrated about that. Like, I was just like I just ranted to y'all, I'm like ranting to my partner, and she comes up to me and she gives me a hug, and I'm like, why are you giving me a hug right now? Get off of me. Go away. I don't want a hug. And it was very, like, she couldn't understand because she was like, well, you're frustrated. People want hugs when they're frustrated. That's what most people want. And this is very indicative of like what I'm trying to say, right? Like I don't want a hug. In fact, I was frustrated, and the last thing I want when I'm frustrated is somebody to touch me. And it's like welcome to my brain, right? I don't make the rules, but I go along with them. And so anyway, when you know, to answer your question, Baseplant, how do you want us to respond to it when that happens? I try to say nice things, but I don't know if that's the kind of feedback you want. So I actually, what I would say is I would say that like any sort of like niceness or complimenty sort of like trying to be nice and say kind or like boastful things feels disingenuous to me. And to be completely honest, it feels controlling and manipulative, right? Like, it's like, don't try to control my feelings. Just tell me what you think. I don't need you to sugarcoat anything or hyperinflate anything or bend to the truth or use your skill and your craft of language and your quick and clever tongue to like change the way that the world perceives. Like, fuck all that. Like, I ain't got time. If you're upset, tell me you're upset. If you think I'm smart, tell me I'm smart. If you think I am cool or pretty or whatever, like, just tell me if you feel inclined to. I probably won't always care, but like, you know, defend you, I guess. So anyway, I would say rather just like hang out and just be cool. Be like Yolanda from Pulp Fiction, bitch be cool. I don't know if that helps or not. Anyway, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Bruce Malt says F. Unsure what that means. Never mind, it's fixed. So here's a question for folks. Is my stream lagging? My internet has been kind of acting up on this computer. I don't know if I need a new motherboard or not. There we go. The stream broke for a moment. Now it's fine. Okay, let me turn this on and see what we get. Oh, hold on. I have to go turn my alarm clock off. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So my my stream, I think my computer network cards are going out. We can debug them later. But yeah, I apologize preemptively if my stream drops again. Also, the reason my alarm clock was going off is because I'm going to meet a friend to go rock climbing here, and I need to leave in about 45 minutes, so I don't actually have that much time today. So I figured we could just hang out and maybe merge some PRs. I don't know if we're actually going to write any Rust as much as we might just proactively talk about it. But yeah, I'll be here, and I've got like a monitor pulled up on the other end now. So if my stream drops, I'll at least know about it, and I'll try to go back from not saying anything so you don't miss anything. Base Plant says, I only think it's manipulative if it's not true. No, I agree. And I think manipulative is not the right word there. I think, the more PC and less malicious way of framing that is influence. Right? Like manipulation is influence at somebody's expense. Influence is manipulation, but like you're not using someone, you're actually just trying to help or like share, proactively, and you don't have any like cruel intentions. So I would say that like ramen breakfast at Nova Show says underscore. That makes me so fucking happy. It's been like what, a year since we've had ramen breakfast since underscore. But yeah, so anyway, like I think that's really what I'm trying to say is it's like I have enough time understanding what people mean that any of the like superficial, like feely words feels like noise. And I would prefer to just have like a raw signal. Does that make sense? So like if you walked up to me on the street and you're like, hey Nova, how's it going? And I would be like, I'm having a rough day. And you're like, oh, let me give you a hug. I'd be like, very strange response, right? Like very, very strange response. Like, but that's because I think my way through the world. I don't feel my way through the world. Right. And the reason that would feel strange to me is because like I told you I'm having a bad day, which means I'm just giving you a raw signal. There's no room for interpretation there. There's no, like, I'm being polite. I'm delivering you a clear message. I'm telling you what's going on. There's no room for interpretation here. And as somebody who often misses a bunch of social cues and like completely will just be blindsided by like what's, happening in the room, because I'm just like, I don't know. People don't tell me things. I'm not going to go and just like make up some imaginary thing because, the way somebody looks that day. So as somebody who experiences that a lot, like I would prefer to just have raw signals. I just want the truth, right? I just want you to like accurately represent the state of your system yourself, right? Good observability here. And so if somebody's like, let me give you a hug, it feels very disingenuous because it's like you're trying to influence me, right? You're not accepting the fact that I'm having a bad day. In fact, you're rejecting the fact that I'm having a bad day. And now you're trying to change it. And it's just kind of like, if I needed something from you, do you not trust me to just ask you? Like, it just feels very strange to me. Very strange. I talk about this with my partner often because she comes from the East Coast, and East Coast is like Southern fucking comfort, right? Like it's You don't ask for somebody to go turn the air up. You just put your jacket on and say, "Ah, it's getting a little cold in here." And then somebody goes and turns the air up, right? And it's all about perception, and you guess what people need, and you're like, people send you these passive aggressive signals and you're supposed to interpret that, and it's just so fucking hard for me. Like I ain't got time. Excuse my French. Zunderscore says, that's why whenever we have our talks, I try to make concrete plans and analogies so that what I'm trying to convey makes sense to your thought process. See, this is why I like you, Zunderscore, is because you do this for me, and I realize it's not your job to do it, and I realize that it's not up to other people to craft their messages for me, but it does make my life easier, and I do appreciate it. X68 says, my commitment, I will never go up and never give you a hug. I'll probably ask, why are you here? Go away, LOL. Exactly. And then I think another thing about it is, like, when I do get frustrated, I will oftentimes just be like, no, I'm having feelings right now, excuse me. And like, I'll try to just be direct about it. And then like, that usually of course backfires, because it's like, well, why did you say no? And it's just like, oh, I said no because I need a fucking minute, bro, chill out. Like, you know what I mean? It's just very difficult. I don't know why our culture seems to struggle with direct communication, but it seems to be the case, doesn't it? Do you have any advice on how to contribute to FOSS when working for corporations? Yeah, I do, actually. I just sent a really great email to Madeline about this. Maybe we can pull up my email and look at it. I have a great answer to this. Since they usually have to sign away IP rights, is it always making me so anxious, especially changing jobs, since my current employer is pretty chill with allowing personal work? I don't even know how to go about it other than to hire a lawyer and to verify everything to make it worse. Hellhound, good question. Let's dig into this. We're gonna spend a minute on this topic. It was yesterday. I literally typed this up yesterday, and she's probably not on the stream because it's like 5 a.m. for her right now. But if she was here, I suspect she would say, just go show people this. Okay. So here's the email. Okay. So, is there a way to like do like a pop out? I don't know. Anyway, this is just like, Gmail is just like the worst. Like, you can't slide anything. It's just, how do I turn this thing off? I don't even know. There. Here, we'll just pull this up here. Okay. So I'll read it out loud so you guys can see. It says, hey, Madeline, thanks for the email, and I'm excited you were able to get yourself a GitHub buddy. So approaching a corporation about streaming. So her question was about like the same thing, but just like streaming. And to me, when I think streaming, I think like personal brand. And I think that like the conversation is having a personal brand and having personal space, whether it's open source contribution or streaming on Twitch or a blog or moonlighting, contracting, working for another company sometimes even. A lot of companies can be very, they can have different laws and different interpretations of this. And some of them are like, they're there for like shitty reasons, right? Like a lot of these companies have policies in place for the same reason they have like Java in place, right? It's like nobody there really fucking cares about Java. The company is just so dysfunctional that they're just still using 20-year-old legacy systems because that's the best that they can do, given all of these other corporation problems that exist because of profit and fucking capitalism and investors and all this other junk. So anyway, like, I just want folks to understand like what they're dealing with. And so anyway, like my direct advice is, you know, you should be honest and transparent about it, but this, like, we can read on, you know, my experience is the smaller the corporation, the easier it is to have a social media presence outside of work. So this is very true. Like if you're working for a startup, they haven't been sued. They don't have a legal branch. You know, there's not a head of legal. There's, you know, Susie, the HR person, is also their legal person, right? Like, it's like very straightforward, and it's just much simpler because it can be. The bigger the corporation you get, they have billions of dollars, and therefore they have the lawyer team of a corporation that needs to protect billions of dollars, because the second you have billions of dollars, people come after you. They want your billions of dollars, and they will do things to get it, and they will be very critical of you and judgmental of you, and try to like use the law, and it's like a whole thing. So anyway, my general advice is to be honest and transparent about your situation with your manager or closest member of your leadership team. So this would be like a VP or like a CTO or like a director or, you know, a senior engineer, staff engineer, whatever. Start by writing down your perfect world scenario with open source or whatever, and working backwards from there. This is critical because a lot of folks who have these conversations don't actually get this part right. They'll just say like, FOSS and open source, and I want to be able to do what I want. And like, yes, you can, but like, if you don't actually write it down very specifically, you're going to likely struggle communicating it when you're like in the moment on one of these calls, and it can become difficult. And so like, write it the fuck down. Pour a cup of coffee, schedule 30 minutes, open up a notepad, write it down. What do you want to do? Every day after work, I want to contribute to whatever open source project I want. You know, any day after 5 p.m., I want to go contribute to the Linux Foundation. On the weekends, I want to go work on the Rust Foundation's Rust project. Like, write down what you want to do, okay? And get it in writing. Be specific. And that should be able to identify any areas that may be problematic. And just send it, right? Send them an email, send them the note you wrote, whatever. Just get it in front of them. Don't be afraid. There's nothing wrong with asking. In fact, I would say that a lot of folks will like lie or try to like sugarcoat or hide what they're trying to do so that they don't get in trouble. That's the opposite of what you want to do. You want to just get it out there because like they're going to find out one way or another, and it's going to look a lot worse if they find out you've been doing something and you've just been trying to be sneaky about it. And you know, people aren't like watching you. They're not going to like, you know, come out and get you. Well, I mean, some corporations might, but like for the most part, the world is pretty legit. I also think that you can put this opinions my own label, put that as in many places as you're confused, right? Like put it on your GitHub page, put it on your LinkedIn page. And that very clearly says like, you're not representing the company. You can even write the phrase does not represent Netflix or GitHub or Microsoft or, you know, whatever. And just include that language, right? Be specific about it. In fact, go look below my Twitch stream right now and you can go read mine. It's right there. Go take a look at it. I also think that there's two risks here. So basically, the first risk is that the company might think your free open source is their IP. Okay, so the company might come and say, you decided to go and upstream whatever, work on this open source project. We're going to come after your project. Okay. I also think that flip it around. Okay. You might have a project, like for example, I have Aurae that existed before my relationship with the corporation, and I want to make sure that they don't come after my work. And this is why IP laws exist. And I think, you know, my big takeaway here is these laws are typically structured to support white people and rich people. And usually those are the same people, let's be honest. And so I think that most people don't actually look to the law as a thing that can actually help them in these situations. And this is where I get a lot of criticism about my like endorsement of capitalism. And I feel like it's like very like, I'm super privileged to be able to do this. But like the other option is basically just like hoping they don't come after me. And like, unfortunately in this country, if somebody comes after you with a warrant, the police will show up. The warrant is real. They will put you in handcuffs. It is a real thing. And like, I try to just be pragmatic about it. Cause like, I just want to do computer science. I don't want to fight anyone. I'm tired of dealing with all this other junk, but I have to deal with it just so I can do my computer science. So anyway, like, be mindful of that, right? Like, it goes both ways. Your work for that you start while you're there, and work that might, you know, pre-exist or outlive your relationship there. So be mindful of both, which was kind of the second point here. I think that if you're interested in just like some language here, GitHub has this thing called the Balanced Employee IP Agreement, or BEPA. I read this before joining GitHub. This is one of the reasons I joined GitHub. Very specifically, very specifically, this was one of the things that actually gave me a tremendous amount of confidence when I signed onto GitHub. And the first reason is because this is just a good policy. This policy works for me. I can do everything I want to do with Aura and everything else with this policy. Also, this policy is written so other people can adopt it. That's cool. I like that pattern. I think that was a good idea. In general, I just really agree with this. Like, if you're going to go and like set expectations with people, go and lead by example, right? Go and give people a tool they can use. So it even says like, you're even welcome to like copy, or like maybe it's use your company. Yeah, your company can use BEPA too and modify it as needed. If you'd like to help improve BEPA for everyone, file an issue and make a pull request, right? So it's a collaborative IP agreement. So this is actually really useful because you can take this and you can go to your corporation and you can say, look what GitHub does. I want to do something like this. Why can't we do something like this, right? And like, you know, GitHub is owned by Microsoft, right? One of the notoriously worst corporations with a long history of like really nasty legal precedent. And I'm having a great time. So life's chill, right? So anyway, this is good. And you know, things change, people change, laws change. You know, time is an ever present phenomenon. So this is a cool thing to check out as well. I know that was a long diatribe. Hopefully that helped you out with your journey and answered your question about what you can do and what you can't do. If you want to go into like the IP specifically, I'm definitely not a lawyer, so you know, seek counsel. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell you what to do. This is not legal advice. All of those like normal disclaimers apply, but like there are some basic understanding of things like open source licenses and CLAs and so forth that can also help protect you. And honestly, this is one of the reasons why we started Nivenly, right? It's actually easier for corporations to let you do this stuff during your day job if there's like an actual entity with lawyers that are managing this stuff, instead of just like, I'm gonna go help this random dude on Reddit's like open source project, right? It actually it fits into the economy better. If you want to fit into the economy, not everybody wants to fit into the economy, and I respect that. I looked at my situation and this was the decision I made, that if I'm going to be a part of this thing, I'm going to go all in and I'm going to try to leverage it for the things I believe in that are important to me. But part of leveraging the system is going to, you know, involve being a part of the system. And, you know, once you're a part of it, you're in. And, you know, that is why Nivenly kind of exists. So we can serve as an entity that can interface with corporations and provide things like code protection and offer like a set of standards and precedent for people to do things like contribute during their day job. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. Hellhound guy said, this is such good fucking advice. Hot damn, I'm also scared of them saying no. But then I remind myself that Google, Microsoft, Amazon, everyone has employees contributing or being maintainers as well. Yeah, this was another thing I said in the email to Madeline was basically, you're not alone, right? It may feel like you're alone, and if you're at a small company, there's a good chance you're the first person to actually go and do this. But like ultimately, you're kind of nothing special, right? Like you're one in a million. Where the million is people who contribute to open source during their day jobs. And like another thing that like you need to understand is like, you know, go pick, like, hold on. Go pick up a book, right? Like quick show of hands. What are all you working on every day at your day job, right? Is there any open source tools or technologies that you use at work every day? The Apache web server, Java, Kubernetes, containers, Docker, Linux. Do any of you use any of these tools or services? Them, there you go, great example. So anyway, like, if you stop and remind yourself, like, all of these books, like I picked Production Kubernetes as my example for this example here. All of these books came from people. All of these people had day jobs. In fact, I want to draw attention to Josh Rosso here on Production Kubernetes. Josh is a rock climber buddy of mine. I'm going to go rock climbing here in 30 minutes with a friend here in California. And Josh and I, like, we've done a bunch of climbing together. Him and I worked together at VMware and Heptio. He's a stellar dude. I love Josh. But like, he's a real person with a real job. And he really wrote this real book that I'm really holding in my real hands that is really applicable to my real day job. And all of that started with a conversation with somebody, a VP, a manager, his boss, etc., that said, hey boss, I want to go do something outside of work. Okay, so it can work, it can be beneficial, right? And it can make sense for your employer. But like, I understand that there's like, but I go on Twitch and I play video games, and it's like, cool, then it's probably actually going to be pretty easy for your employer not to really care too terribly much, right? So anyway, that's kind of the example here, is you're definitely not alone. You're definitely not alone. You'll also almost never see me actually send a PR to any of these projects. You will see my juniors, interns, and coworkers send PRs. I love solving problems, but I also help others build themselves by collaborating with them and when they get the credit. Yeah, so that's a thing that you see a lot of successful leaders do that. It's called working through people. I am not very good at it. I try to get better at it. I'm not very good at delegating or working through people. I'm really good at working with people. And I'm really good at understanding what's next. I'm not good at saying, hey, Mike, go do this thing. You're also better at dealing with people. I actually don't think I'm that good at dealing with people. I really don't. I think I am like, I give myself a 3 out of 10 on my ability to deal with people, sincerely. And that's not like, I'm not fishing for a compliment. Like, that's an honest signal from my heart to yours. And I guess, like, maybe another way of saying that is, like, the phrase dealing with people is subject to interpretation, and I'm probably hyper focusing on the areas of that phrase that I know I'm very bad at. So, like, maybe it's a 3 out of 10, but I only picked to measure myself with the things I know I'm bad at, right? Pretty good at dealing with, like, 100 people right now. I mean, let's be real. Okay, so let's be real. Here on Twitch, it's like less than 10% of people actually engage. So there's, 90 people right now, or 90 accounts that are watching right now. Of those accounts, let's say 20 of them are just, somebody fell asleep and left Twitch on, and I'm just talking to their monitor. The other 20 are like, they have it pulled up, but they're in another browser. Maybe they're listening to me, maybe they're not. In fact, hi everybody in another browser. I love you. I think you're doing great work in that other browser tab. I hope whatever you're reading is very important right now. And then I also think that of everyone else, who's actually watching, like, they're just hanging out, having a good time. I like to pretend, this is the thing I do, and y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I like to pretend that, like, people watch me and just, like, smile from time to time. I don't know when it comes, but, like, I'll say something stupid, or, like, somebody will just be like, yeah, heard that before. Scheduling fucking time with people freaking sucks, right? Like, and I get people to smile. And I'll go home at the end of the night, and I read every night before bed, and I like try to tell myself, like, hey, I made people smile today. And that's like a really good thought to think before bed. So anyway, yeah, I laugh from time to time, says X68C. Ringazen. And America says, hey, hi. Everybody's saying hi because I called everybody out on their shit. They're all clicking over from their other, they're all like, oh God, hold on. Where's my, let me go find like Twitch and just like, oh God, where is she? Oh, hi, better go, you know, tell her, like, yeah, this is a thing that happens. 21 Lesson says, just waking up and a cup of coffee before heading to work. Good morning. I still haven't had my coffee yet. Why don't we just do like a quick coffee time? Good morning. Here, we can do the thing. Good morning, everyone. It's all gonna be okay. Good morning. Good morning. You're all smart. You deserve happiness. People. I think you're smart. We used to do coffee time like this. We used to do like good morning, like coffee time. I love coffee time on Twitch. One of the things that's difficult for me is like I've been staying up later and later. I've been reading a lot again. And my day job now starts at 7. Right? I used to have all this time in the morning before work because of living on the East Coast, but now that I'm back here on the West Coast, it's like very difficult for me to do these morning streams. I used to fucking love these morning streams. These morning streams like made my fucking life. I really want to get back into the morning streams. Maybe I can start getting up again and going for like runs and doing my streams again. I would love that. Zillion says radio mic is undefeated. So I've got the mic at a good like nice 6 inches from my mouth right now. I hope this works out well for everyone. It's 5 a.m. at your place. Yeah, it's 5:30 in California. Good morning. That's a nice welcome, not gonna lie. But I don't think I could do that myself with a straight face. For what it's worth. My face is definitely not straight. My colleagues on the West Coast have the same issue. Meetings start at 7 a.m. for them. Yeah. It's not that bad. Like I'm fine having 7 a.m. meetings. I think that for me, like the thing is I actually would prefer 7 a.m. meetings, but where I could get up at 4 and have like 3 hours of quiet time before the day starts. Maybe I'll try to let this ride. Maybe I'll try to get up again early tomorrow and we'll see how it goes. Let's merge some PRs. But this one works. It basically says my own notes on setting up a VM using my own Apple Silicon computer. Proofing, so please do ask questions and expand my thinking. Okay, so I left a comment last week. We'll update this and see what happens. I probably won't get to actually do it. I don't know. I feel like I've got like, what is the equivalent of like writer's block, but for open source software? Does that make sense? Like every time I look at Aura, I'm just like, I'm exhausted. I have a lot going on at work right now. I started to write a blog for work. Hopefully I'll get to publish it. We'll see how it goes. Future Highway says, I don't think that one is complete yet. Future, do you know if there's anything I need to merge that I can merge this morning? I think it makes a lot of sense. I have that for everything. Yeah, it's real. So I'm hoping that I can hang out with y'all and we can talk and maybe I'll feel a little bit better. Oh, okay. Looking, Das Überman Mind 13. Wow, that's a name. That is a Friedrich Nietzsche name if I've ever heard one. Gotten late, what's wrong? I mean, nothing's wrong, right? Life's great. Life is great. We got 20 minutes. We could talk about KVM. Cloud hypervisor is cool and they're upstream in the modules. Yeah, let's talk about KVM. Great question. 443 needs guidance on how things should work. Let's take a look. Let's do this and then we'll 443. Okay. Because the daemon should not have access to the client key, it should not be able to reuse the client auth to communicate with the nested or a D. Here we disable TLS for proto message between the daemon